welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today we're going to be going over a more recent true crime event. But before we get too far into it, I want to remind you guys you can find us on all of our social media platforms. We are on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram, all at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and that's Chronicles with an S.
Nice. All in one breath, too. Nice.
Yeah, we're getting better.
Yeah, you gotta get it in and then just let it flow. Otherwise, you run out of breath halfway through.
Yeah, and then it's just an awkward...
Yeah. So I don't know what today's case is. I'm reacting with you guys, but I am excited. So let's find out.
Yes. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about something more recent and something a little closer to home. Does not take place in Minnesota. We are in Wisconsin, I believe.
Oh. Yeah, that works.
Yeah. So the sentencing for this actually took place on Wednesday this week for us. For you, yeah.
Oh, so recent. Okay.
Yeah, recent has made headline news. I'm talking like Star Tribune, like everybody's been covering this case.
I'm wondering if I know what this is, and it might be on my potential episode ideas.
I know, that's why as I was writing this, I'm like, oh, please, Connie, do not cover this one. Because we don't tell each other.
We don't. How funny would that be, though, if we showed up, we're like, all right, guys, case file. Oh, 2 case files on the same case file.
Well, I mean, we would just have more information. Let's be honest. It is bound to happen eventually.
Oh, yeah.
It's bound to happen. But yeah, so it was Wednesday for us this week. Won't be for you guys. So it was July 31st. So my sources for this is Fox 9, Star Tribune, CBS News, 5 Eyewitness News, and one of those sites also has a video on YouTube that you can go and check out, and it'll make more sense in a little bit. So today we're going to be talking about the story of Nicolae Miu and the Apple River stabbing. Did you hear about that one?
I heard a little, but it's because I know somebody that was involved.
Oh.
Not involved. They were there. They were present.
Oh, they weren't one that got stabbed?
No,
Good.
But they were there. I think it was right before or right after.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, like I said, more close to home because I have gone there before.
All of us have
everyone
gone
goes
to
to Apple River.
It's a great place for just tubing, chilling. Honestly, I've been to several birthday parties over there with like the big, giant picnic pavilion. It's more of a building than it is a pavilion, but yeah, no, it's a nice area and it's only a couple hour drive from here.
Exactly. It's not far at all. It is Wisconsin, right?
It is Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I'm like right
it is
on the other side of the border.
Yeah, which is why I was questioning it earlier. I was like, I'm 99% confident that it's Wisconsin, but as we talk, it's becoming less and less confident.
No, it is Wisconsin, but just like barely. I think it's only like 15, 20 minutes over the Minnesota border.
Okay.
No, it's not a couple hours then. I think it's only like an hour and a half or 2 hour drive from
It's really not
Twin
far
Cities.
at all. Yeah. It's really not far at all.
Depending on construction.
Yeah, that. So this actually took place on July 30th of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So on that day, a peaceful day of tubing on the Apple River turned into a nightmare. Nicolae, and I'm assuming that's just how you say his name, it's spelled Nicolae. And then his last name is Miu. Nicolae.
I think it might be Nicolae.
Nicolae. We'll go with Nicolae. But if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. It is Romanian, I believe.
Yeah, I'm vaguely remembering.
It's here somewhere.
We'll find out. Also, if you're new to our podcast, welcome. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe. But also, if you're not, you're now a veteran of this channel. You know that we cannot pronounce anything.
Names.
Well, even some terms and location. Nouns are hard, okay?
So Nicolae Miu is a 54-year-old man who lived in Prior Lake, Minnesota. He was out on the river with his wife and their friends, and Nicolae and his group began their float around 11:30 a.m. By early afternoon, Nikolai had separated from his group to search for a lost cell phone that someone had dropped into the river, like someone from his group, but it
Ooh.
was in one of those like bags.
Okay. So
So
there's maybe a chance of you finding it, but like,
still probably not. Yeah, no, probably not.
no, there's a reason they make those bags to wear around your neck.
Yeah, so tip for you, if you're going on the river and you have one of those, throw it around your neck because you're going to be thankful and grateful that you did so. So he was using a snorkel and goggles to search for the phone in the area ish where it dropped. So he's trying to help. Nikolai approached a group of young tubers and he was confronted and accused of suspicious behavior. Specifically, he was being accused of looking for young girls. The group of tubers began to verbally confront him and told him to leave and go away. This escalated when more people from the group joined in, and there was a cell phone video too that was recorded by a witness. Witnesses started calling 911 around 3:47, and within this chaos, he stabbed 5 people.
Nikolai stabbed
Yep,
5 people.
5 people, and Isaac Schumann was fatally stabbed, and he passed away. The others that were wounded were Alexander Martin, Dante Carlson, Anthony Carlson, and Riley Matson. Isaac Schumann was a 17-year-old high school student from Stillwater. Immediately after this incident, Nikolai tried to distance himself from the scene, and it was reported that he threw the knife into the riverbank. And he also did not call 911. He put on a hat, a shirt, and sunglasses, seemingly like trying to blend into the crowd. Nikolai lied during the initial interrogation while in jail. What he said didn't match up with the witness statements or the video that was taken. During the interrogation, which you can watch the full, I want to say it's like just over an hour interrogation. You can watch the whole thing. It's open to the public. I watched bits and pieces. I did not watch the whole thing, but
I don't know if I've seen any. I think I've seen clips of it, but
yeah, I've seen a good chunk of it. Enough to give you an idea of what he said happened. And so during the interrogation, Nikolai claimed that while looking for his friend's phone, he asked a group of teenagers if they happened to find a phone. Nikolai continues to say that they started accusing him of being a child molester and states he told them if he is, should they be drinking, quote, "If I'm a child molester, you shouldn't be having alcohol," end quote. That quote came directly from his mouth. Exactly. What does that even mean? Like, I understand, but like, I understand it's underage drinking, but, and that's not great, but also,
what? Okay, see, like, maybe it's one thing if it's like you saying, okay, well, if I'm Santa Claus, then you're Mary Poppin.
yeah.
Like a very obvious, like you're calling me something I'm obviously not, then you're something you're obviously not. That's weird that he's like, well, if I'm a child molester, then you shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah.
That sounds like, well, I'm dangerous, then you're putting yourself in a spot to be a victim.
Yeah. And that
What?
mindset in itself is just,
I have a lot of questions.
yeah.
I have a lot of questions. Okay.
It gets a little confusing.
Was English his first language?
No.
Okay, so that's the other thing where like maybe that makes sense in whatever is his
Got
first
lost in
language.
translation.
Yeah, because I've seen that in my job
I
a
have
lot.
too, but it's kind of hard to say that got twisted around in translation.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
No. According to him, the group of tubers had weapons. They had a smaller knife and a kitchen knife, and he took the smaller knife when they started to attack him. We're
Right.
going to be going back and forth a little bit. It's a little confusing of he said, she said, and then the video, which you can also watch the clip of the stabbing. It is on YouTube, but you don't actually see the stabbing. Like when
Okay.
it started, when the stabbing started, the person that was videoing got spooked and like the camera went down. Like for obviously he's a human and he's
Yeah.
reacting.
Which is the irony of filming, because it's like the moment that really needs to be filmed is there. Like you do need the lead up, but also like the actual
Mm-hmm.
crime. But I also get it. I
And
can't say I do different.
I mean, there may have also been other people filming. I would be surprised if there weren't other people filming and they may have gotten it, but that's just the one that's been released on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no actual stabbing, so therefore they probably can put it on YouTube. So Nicolae also said that he saw that they found something that was in a bag that they had with them, but they wouldn't tell him what it was.
Okay, just making sure I'm tracking correctly. Nikolai is saying that he was using the snorkel and goggles to look for a cell phone that was lost from
Mm-hmm.
someone in his group that was in a bag. He comes across this group of young teenagers, 17 to 18, 19, and asks them for help. They say that you're being creepy or you're looking for young girls, you're a child molester. He doesn't deny that fact and instead tries to shame them for drinking alcohol when they're underage. He then thinks that they have the cell phone potentially because they have a bag that they're not showing him. And then it escalates to he gets a knife from the teenagers and
Mm-hmm.
stabs one of them fatally, injures several others, and then runs off. Am I tracking?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we've covered so far, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But it's like even if they did have a bag, those bags that you put phones in, so common. The water bags that you put
Mm,
phones in, so common. Everyone has them. How do you know that that's not theirs?
especially on the Apple River.
Yeah,
Like everyone uses those bags on the river.
exactly. And they all look the same. They're the same colors. They're the same.
They've got the same stupid little yellow clip thingy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you put your name on it or make it unique, once you have it, it looks like everybody else's. So he kept asking what they found. Apparently, and all of this is coming from his mouth in the initial interview. Um, he says that he kept asking for what they found, but then they apparently grabbed his snorkel and threw it in the water, and the water was so fast that it started going down the river. He tried to go after it, but another group that was mainly made up of girls came over, and they also started yelling at him and calling him a child molester. He doesn't know exactly how it started, but they started attacking him and he went into self-defense mode and then he went over to his group of people. He's just saying like, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what happened, and then the next thing I know I'm over at back at my group. He returned to his group. They asked him what had happened, but he said nothing because he needed to calm down and he really didn't know what happened. He told the investigator that he feared for his life when the two people pointed knives at him and he thought it was it for him. After he took one of the knives from the teenager and he didn't recall making contact with anyone with the knife. So he is just jumping all over the place here with his story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I know there's traumatic blackouts.
I get that.
This just doesn't seem.
Seems like a convenient blackout.
It does seem convenient, especially because for most teenagers, and I hope this is the case, you do not default to calling someone a child molester. I would hope not.
Mm-mm.
Like, I never Granted, there is a massive gap in mentality between when we were teenagers and the teenagers of today.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that as an insult, just it's different lives. The
Yep.
society's different. I don't recall any of us ever really using that.
Unprovokingly.
Yeah, even so, you wouldn't say child molester, you say creep.
Creep or pedophile even
Pedophile.
before child molested. That wouldn't even be in my commonly used vocabulary. I mean, not using pedophile in commonly used vocabulary, but like that
In
would
this
come
series,
up
apparently we are.
that would come up before child molester though.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, that's a... It seems like we're missing a lot in the lead up.
Exactly. Like it just seems like he went over there and was like, "Hey, it looks like you found a bag. My buddy lost a phone. Is that what it is?" And then they just start saying, "Get out of here, you child molester," whatever.
Yeah. Too convenient.
Yeah, believability is pretty low. So he continued to tell the investigator that he didn't have a knife with him on the river. He had one in the beginning to use for the ropes for the tubes because they always tie the tubes together with ropes so your group can all float together. But he wasn't sure what happened to that knife. He could have even put it back in his car before they went down the river. The investigator told Nicolae that 4 people were hurt and 1 person died. Nicolae's response was to ask her if that was because the group of people were fighting each other, then exclaims, quote, "Oh my God," end quote, put his hands on his head, and then said, "Underage drinking needs to end on the Apple River because it's turned into a sewer."
Is that not sitting well with anyone else? Feel a little fishy?
I remember reading this and I was like, that's mm-mm.
Also, okay, so I
Yes.
have grown up not personally handling a lot of knives, but pretty much every member of my mother's side of the family has knives. Not
Yep.
sure what dad's side is doing. They're city folks. But
Fair.
mom's folks are country folks. You know where your knife is. You know where your Leatherman is. You know where you put it.
I'm not going to just misplace my knife, especially in public.
Never in
No.
public, you are on top of that.
I mean, if it's in your home and you have, I don't know, say like 5 pocket knives and you're like, where did I put this one? I can't remember. Like that's different.
One thing. But no, it's almost like, from what I've seen of folks that have their concealing carries for firearms, you know where your firearm is. You know where your knife is. Most folks that use a knife often have either a specific spot in their car, or B, they've got the side holders for it.
Or they put it in the exact same spot every single day they go out.
Or in their pocket.
Yeah. Say you put it in your front right pocket every single day and that's where it lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you don't... that just seems really weird to me that you forgot where the knife was. I know where my knife is right now, and I like never use it, thankfully.
Yeah.
It's my jagged stabby. But I know where that is, and I like never use it. I can tell you exactly where it is right now, and I haven't used it in years. Last time I used it was to cut something for the wedding.
Yeah.
Not a person. Did not cut a person. I had to cut a box.
A lot different. Yeah.
I wanted to cut a person. I was a little stressed that week of the wedding, but
do you want to put your hypothetical thing in there?
Hypothetical, not admissible in a court of law.
Yeah.
I don't stab people. You shouldn't stab people either.
Don't stab people.
No one told Nicolae.
So getting back to Nicolae. Nicolae was arrested and charged with first-degree intentional homicide and 4 counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide.
Wow, they went for first degree.
Yep. So for those of you listening, I'm sure you know what it means, but first-degree intentional homicide involves the intentional killing of another person with premeditation and deliberation. And then attempting just means that they didn't succeed.
Attempted to murder.
Yeah.
That's why I'm surprised that they put this as first
Same.
degree, because how much of this can you prove is premeditated?
So during the trial, the charges were changed. They were changed to first-degree reckless homicide.
There we go.
Yep. So this is when someone recklessly causes the death of another person or an unborn child while showing utter disregard for human life.
Yep. Okay, see that one, I'm like, that I can see easier. But if they had gone forward with first degree homicide, I'm like,
they weren't going to get that one.
They weren't going to get that one. And even if they did, a defense lawyer could appeal that so quick.
Exactly.
So quick.
Exactly. So that one was for Isaac.
For Isaac.
The one that died. And then he also got charged with 4 counts of first-degree reckless endangering of safety. So that's when someone's life is intentionally put in danger that shows a complete disregard for human life.
Mm-hmm. Reckless endangerment and homicide, very, very different when it comes to legal. Morality, not great for either.
No.
But legally, we have to have differences.
Yeah. So the trial started in April of 2024 and occurred over 8 days, and more than 36 witnesses took the stand.
Wow.
There's a lot of people that saw this.
Well, I mean, the Apple River is busy on a good day, or even on a bad day, it's busy.
Even on a bad day, yeah. It's always packed. It's always packed, and it's always just people drinking the whole time. I mean,
you get a
chilling,
July,
you're having fun.
Because it was a July day in 22, right?
Yep.
Oh my God, and especially July of 22, we had some hot days up here.
Yep.
Like hot, humid,
I'm pretty sure we were there that year as well, actually, on the Apple River near that time. Not that day, but like near that time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was my coworker. Yeah, it was my coworker who was there the morning of.
Jeez. Crazy. So the jury was shown cell phone videos, body cam footage from law enforcement, and then also the initial interview with Nicolae. The prosecution agrees that Nicolae was the aggressor, and he had no reason to pull a knife on them, and he had opportunities to defuse the situation or walk away.
Real quick, sorry. Pull a knife, as in he had his knife with him. He did not get the knife from
That is something that is not clear, that I could not find an answer to, and it bothers me.
I was going to say, because that's...
But it did sound, from the court, it did sound like it was his knife that was in his pocket.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm wondering. Because if it was his knife, I can totally see how the prosecution would have originally gone for first-degree homicide as premeditated.
Yeah.
I could totally see that. That's why, when you're saying, like, he said he got the knife from them, and then they're saying, it's first degree, I'm like, something's not connecting here.
I don't know if they could prove that it was his knife that was in his pocket, or he just picked it up.
Yeah, that is pretty hard unless it's engraved, or you've got a picture of someone buying it.
Yeah,
it's a little trickier. It doesn't have serial numbers, to my knowledge. They don't have serial numbers on knives.
I don't think so. Let us know if you know.
Maybe on some of like the really nice Leathermans.
I'm sure on some of the like really, really expensive stuff, but even so, I don't know. Maybe.
I've seen some really nice knives where it's got like all the fun. Well, I don't know about fun, but like
all the like add-ons,
accessories.
Oh yeah. And
it's like, damn, I'm surprised that it doesn't have like a cell phone that pops out.
Yeah.
Some of them are cool and expensive and terrifying.
Expensive. Very, very expensive.
Sidetrack.
So they emphasized that Nicolae's response was excessive and acted in a way that was an utter disregard for human life. The lead prosecutor... Did I say that right?
Lead prosecutor?
Yeah. Okay.
As long as you don't say prostituter.
I think it came out of my mouth weird, and I was like, that just sounded weird.
You're good. I couldn't say prosecutor for my dad, so I told people my dad was a prostitute for many years. Between ages of like 3 and 5. It's a common problem in the prosecutor field with your children.
Do I have permission to use that as a short?
You can.
Okay, thanks.
It only happened a couple times.
Oh gosh.
I think people are able to figure it out pretty quick when they meet my dad and they see him in the suit and they're like, I don't think you're using
You're not
that
a prostitute.
word.
Nope.
I don't think that's right.
It's not the right word. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
I remember my dad sitting me down and like, prosecutor. Prosecutor. I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been saying. He's like, no, you're not.
Could you imagine if you started that rumor for your dad that he was a prostitute and that like went around his firm?
Oh my God. Oh, it would have
Be
been
like, hey, we know your side hustle.
Oh, I think it only happened in public. I think one or two. I think I know I was with my mom for one or two of them, and with my dad for at least one. And my mom handled it a lot better because my mom can handle herself really well when situations are ridiculous. And she just went, "He's a lawyer. He's a prosecutor." I'm like, yeah, that's what I said.
A prostitute.
He's a prostitute. Sorry, Dad.
Oh gosh.
Oh. I mean, just yeah. I so wish YouTube had been a thing back then. Because can you imagine that? My dad, all proud, because I was a very precocious little child, and I like talking to adults. So he's like, "I'm so proud of my kid. She's at my office. She's talking to my friends. This little curly, blonde, blue-eyed, adorable child. She just called me a prostitute."
I could see him. I could see like him or someone else be like, "What does your dad do for work?" "He's a prostitute," and he's like all dressed up in his getup.
It would have been such a good TikTok. Oh, because you know I said it with conviction.
Oh, 100%.
Like I was so proud. I was so proud of my dad.
Which is so cute and so sweet. But that's hilarious.
When he retired, I should have totally written in his retirement card, "You did so well, and now you can retire and no longer be a prostitute. You're a retired prostitute." I should have written that in his retirement card a couple years ago.
Oh, that would have been perfect. Oh gosh.
Dang it.
Oh,
Missed opportunity.
Yep.
I'll ask him if he remembers that when I talk to him next time. I'm sure it's a strong memory.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't think he could forget, unless it's one of those memories that this was so horrible that I just.
It's not one of the worst things I said in public as a child, so could
Probably
still be in
not,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a filter as a kid.
That's fair. A lot of kill.
A lot of kill. We've been doing too much true crime.
A lot of children don't have filters.
No.
Why did I say a lot kill?
A lot of kill. Well, killers don't have filters. That's why they're killing. Oh, if you guys have any fun stories about kids you know, or, you know, your kids with those funny little, like, that's definitely not the right way to use that word, would highly love to hear those in the comments. We need some positivity on these Wednesday episodes.
We do. Okay, so getting back to Nicolae.
Yes.
I should not be smiling as I'm saying this.
Well, we're coming off of my dad, the prostitute, so.
I'm going to not look at you.
Yep.
The lead prosecutor.
Oh, God, we have squirrels in our brains.
The lead prosecutor pointed out that Nicolae lacked remorse and showed a recorded phone call while he was in prison. He described the teenagers as bastards.
Doesn't sound too remorseful to me.
Nicolae's defense argued that the translation was off, and in Romanian, what he said was unfortunates.
I don't speak Romanian.
Nor do I.
I'm going to go to Google Translate real quick. Okay.
I was going to say this might not turn out the way you want it to, Connie.
What the hell's going on with that T? Okay, so that's the word for bastards. Nenorugsidi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying, okay? And then unfortunates.
English is our first language and only language.
Oh, I get nephrectic.
So kind of similar.
It's kind of similar. Also, as anyone who speaks any language and has ever had to use Google Translate knows, it does its best, but there are definitely some small, like colloquial little linguistic things that it doesn't nail. So can see I can see that,
But
but why would you also call them
I
unfortunates?
was about to ask you, I was going to say, would him calling them the unfortunates, would that be even, would that be better? I mean, I know bastard is not good, but like, I still don't think that that's painting him in a good light of being those
Remorse.
unfortunates. Like, you're not showing remorse even with that, right?
No, I mean, unless, and if anyone speaks Romanian or has a understanding of Romanian culture, please weigh in the comments.
Yeah, because obviously we're American, coming from
Very,
American culture background, so
very,
very different.
very Midwestern.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I'm wondering if that is a cultural difference because I know there's some ways to talk about a person that in English, especially in like Midwest culture, would be very, very no bueno, very not good.
Yeah. Yeah. So we could definitely be missing that, and I acknowledge that. Um, yeah. So
It's still weird. It's something's not sitting right.
yeah, it during this whole point of me taking notes, I was just like, I just feel icky
It
about
does.
the whole
It feels
thing.
okay. So hold on.
Yeah.
Question. Many questions. Was Nikolai alone in searching for the phone? Did anyone in the group, his original group, corroborate that he was searching for the phone or the phone went
They
missing?
they said that the people in the group said that, well, so Nikolai's wife said that the phone went missing, and Nikolai was the only one that had the scuba gear with him, so he went by
Okay.
himself, and he was the only one of the group that broke off.
Oh, I mean,
Wouldn't you think it's the person who lost the phone would be the one searching for it, not a random person in your group?
it depends how close they were. Because I can
Yes.
also see like scuba, it's in your mouth. I wouldn't necessarily want to share that with
Well,
somebody.
also, if you look at the water from the video, and I know I have not talked about the video yet because it's literally 2 bullet points down here, but in the video, and this is the Apple River, I mean, it is not deep at all. And I'm
Mm-mm.
talking like in the video, they are around like right under knee height. Like, this is very, very shallow water. You don't need scuba gear in that shallow of water, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is kind of.
Isn't that odd? Because there's rocks underneath, like you'd be able to see.
Yeah, it's not the clearest water, but it is moving water.
Yeah. I don't know,
Mm,
just something that raises questions for me, at least. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think.
maybe. I still want to know how we got to him being accused of being a child molester.
We'll
Oh,
get
we're
to
getting
that.
there? Okay.
We'll get to that. So I kind of talk about it in the with the video. So the defense argued that Nikolai acted in self-defense. He was surrounded by a dozen angry people and had no choice but to defend himself. So the video that I've been kind of talking about this whole time, I wanted to show Nikolai's perspective first and then go on to the video. So the video shows multiple people telling and pleading with Nicolae to leave. Nicolae is smirking and takes out his pocket knife. He punches a 100-pound female in the face. Nicolae gets hit back, and he gets up and starts stabbing everyone within reach of him, regardless of their roles. And in this video, that was one of the news summaries of what the video was. in this video, the one that I watched at least, it like he's with the teenage boys, and I mean they're all far enough apart. The boys are telling him to leave. And they're saying, "Are you just here to look at young girls?" They never used child molester in the video that I watched. They said, "You're here just to look at the girls. Go away. You're making people uncomfortable. Leave."
That sounds like a actual statement from teenagers.
Yeah. And he doesn't leave at all. He had plenty of time to either diffuse the situation or leave. There was so much time before it got physical. And I don't know, it was hard to see. It was in, clearly the phone was in a case that was not.
One of the waterproofing cases. Yeah.
They get foggy, especially when you're on the river, hot day. They just get foggy. So it was a very foggy video. So I don't know who pushed who first, but he got pushed in the river at one point, and then someone else got pushed in the river.
Nicolae got pushed in the river?
Nicolae got pushed in the river, and then he got up and someone else was in the river, and then the phone went down.
Got it.
So I'm assuming then that's when the stabbing happened. But I did not personally see any knives being pulled on Nicolae. And it wasn't like a circling situation, which is how the defense is making this sound like.
That's how Nicolae was making it sound like.
Yeah, like Nicolae is here, the group is here. They're not surrounding him.
Which, that makes sense. Think of any situation ever, especially when you're a teenager, because almost everyone is a teenager. You were in a situation where you had to tell somebody to bugger off.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of being a teenager. That's a lot to unpack later. You do not get close. Like, there is always a solid minimum, like 15 to 20 feet buffer.
And he was the one getting closer to the group.
Yeah, no.
So things are not looking good for Nicolae here.
No. I want to punched a 100-pound girl in the face. How do you feel good about that?
She was little too.
100 pounds is tiny.
She's little.
And he's a 53-year-old man. 53.
54, I think.
Grown man.
Grown man, either way.
No.
Yeah. No. So the jury deliberated for a day and a half. And they found Nicolae guilty of first-degree reckless homicide and 4 counts of first-degree reckless endangering safety. Isaac's parents were at the sentencing and spoke about Isaac, who he was, and the impact of his passing. And again, the sentencing took place on Wednesday. So Isaac's mother said, while asking the judge to give the maximum sentence, quote, "2 years ago yesterday, my life was forever changed. My heart forever shattered. He was a mother's dream, kind, sensitive, helpful, talented, and harmless. He stole Isaac's life, and he stole my life. Justice to me is getting my child back. I'm thankful the jury got it right, and this monster will die in prison. He has no soul. He's evil. This monster took Isaac's future away from him so he can rot in the hell he created for himself." End quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Stole his life. That's, yeah.
Yeah. That always gives me chills. Nicolae also prepared a statement and read it prior to his sentencing as well. Quote, "Dear parents, family, and friends of Isaac, I would like to start by letting you know how deeply sorrow I have been, I am, and always will be for the real fact that Isaac is not with you anymore, and that I was directly involved in his very tragic and unimaginable death at such an early age. I never meant for this tragedy to occur. My soul is broken. My heart is very heavy, and I will never be the same carrying such a heavy burden inside. I pray to God for forgiveness, compassion, and love for everyone affected directly and indirectly by the outcome of this tragic event. I am hoping that you appreciate how much I'm sorry for the outcome of those events. I'm very sorry. End quote. Yeah,
The nerve.
I know. I do want to also say I forgot to put in here Nicolae was not under the influence of anything at this time.
That was one of my questions.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
was he
forgot to put
under?
it in there.
Because that's what I was wondering with that extreme aggression. I'm like, is he on some narcotics? Did he mix a couple of things he shouldn't? Nope, just aggressive.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So he was sentenced to 20 years in prison for the homicide of Isaac Schumann. With credit for the time he had already served, Nicolae will be eligible for release under supervision when he is 72 years old. Isaac's father said he is glad that the process is over. He is wanting to move forward now, and he plans on spending the rest of his life honoring Isaac. He also stated, quote, I'm happy that he did apologize. I still need to process that. And I was happy that he did. End quote.
Yeah. I can't. I'm not judging at all
No.
mom or dad's reaction.
Oh,
because
absolutely not. No.
I can't begin to understand it, and I pray to God I never firsthand understand it.
Yeah.
But I don't. So is he serving any additional time for the reckless endangerment sentencing?
Didn't seem that way.
Which
is why I'm confused.
I'm confused too. And also 72, like that's, to me, that's not that old actually.
It's not.
No. Like
I know some of y'all might be thinking it is, but
my dad is turning 72. Like
yeah. it's not that old.
It's not anymore with medical advancements.
Yeah.
100 years ago we have a different story, but I'm grateful for the medical technology we have. There's just
yeah,
that's just so much anger, rage, aggression.
Would they do further sentencing?
I don't know, possibly. That's I'd have to actually double check.
It's just, this is so new. I mean, this literally came out 2 days ago.
I believe with what, okay, not a lawyer yet, working on it. Not a lawyer. I believe that for each sentence charged, or for each crime charge, whatever you're getting sentenced for, it carries its own sentence with it. Okay. So if he's being charged, that's why I asked about the reckless endangerment, because we've got the sentencing now for the first degree, reckless homicide. There we go. Mm-hmm. We've got the charge for that. And now I'm wondering if there is another sentencing for the reckless endangerment.
Yeah.
Because it seems like that's not something that should just be let go.
No,
but I'm not as familiar with the court processes yet, so I can't say for certain.
Yeah, no. And I mean, with this being so new, if something pops up, we will definitely let you guys know in future episodes. Like before we start whatever, we'll just say, hey, by the way, this. But I really hope they don't let it go, and I hope that's.
I hope I just have this gut feeling that there is additional sentencing for those charges.
I hope so, because he had 4 counts of that. And for him to only get 20 years
for cutting someone else's life short by potentially 70 to 80 years.
Yeah. I don't know. And if you guys, I encourage you guys, if you want to and are interested and you want to watch the video, go find it. It's not hard to find. It's on YouTube. I believe that was CBS that posted that one.
Yeah, if you search up Apple Valley stabbing July 2022, I'm sure it'll pop up.
Yeah. So that way you can form your own opinions and really get a good grasp of what actually happened. But crazy. Something that should have never happened.
No,
Never should have happened.
never should have happened. I just have so many questions about it.
Yeah.
I really am hoping that there's going to be psych evals done if they have not already been done.
I don't know.
Because that's just such unprovoked and or not under the influence of narcotics or alcohol. That's just so much rage and aggression to show for the level of situation that it was, that it has me concerned
Yeah.
where this could end up. And I don't know, this is a speculation. I am not saying this as a fact, just my own personal opinion. So don't come at us for defamation here. This is feeling like it could end up with Rodriguez from the Drew Chodine case,
Yeah.
where he was released after 20 years. Was it 20 years? Yeah, I think it was 20 years.
Something like that.
And
yeah.
then, you know, less than half a year later, he goes, kidnaps, tortures, rapes, kills Drew Chodine. And I'm just, ooh, bug. I'm feeling a little nervous because of how much rage that was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. And this is so new that, like, those records, if they did do mental health screening on him, we won't know because it hasn't been X amount of years, so it hasn't been released. This is probably the most recent thing we've done on here.
Yeah, between crime happening and sentencing.
Yeah.
Definitely the most recent.
Yeah. So we're used to the more, Black Dahlia stuff, like all the stuff that's been, everything's open because it's been so many years.
Yeah, I think the most recent thing that we've had other than that was Drew Chodine, 2004.
Yeah. And like that, even that, like, not everything has been released, but there's a lot more information out there. Is everything released?
Drew, I believe for the most part. Also, did you hear that beeping? I think it may have came from outside. I didn't see any pop-ups on the computer.
I don't hear anything.
It was just beep, 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 beep. But not like a watch, like a electronic. Or I'm going crazy.
I believe you. I believe I just wasn't paying attention.
It could just be the demons from all my 3 a.m. wake-ups.
Let's not.
Right, left, right?
Left, right.
Left, right? Really? Oh my god, I've been doing it wrong the whole time. Is that what you've been trying to tell me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that is the case of Nicolae Miu.
Wow. I didn't remember that the kid had been killed. I remembered, the stabbing. I remember hearing about I heard about it on Facebook before I heard about it in the news.
Yeah.
Like so many, it's Snapchat, actually. It was Snapchat and Facebook.
I don't really follow news sites at all because of stuff like this. I'd rather not know. I like my happy bliss. And yet here we are.
I was going to say, how's that going for us?
Not great. I would have never found out about this one, but I was actually chatting with Connie's mom, and she's like, "Hey, look."
Yeah,
sure.
We've gotten a lot of case ideas from my parents.
Yeah,
we've got a really interesting case file coming up for you guys. Hopefully soon-ish. We just got to get the time to have it researched and put out because we've got a lot of stuff coming up with schedule changes in our lives. But that one is a messed up case that got national press that happened here in Minnesota.
That one, if it's the one I'm thinking of, that one's going to be wild.
Yes,
So
it will.
make sure you are following us on all of our social media platforms. We are on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram, all at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and that's Chronicles with an S.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Let us know your thoughts on this case. And again, if you want some positive on the internet, because God knows we need it, share the cute stories of the kids being kids.
Yes.
We'll take it.
Yes.
Please.
We would love it.
Perfect. Well, anything else to add?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. In that case, we will see you next week. Adios.
Bye.
I am so surprised they didn't go off.
I'm so proud of them.
I know. We both start speeding up like, don't do it. Don't do it.
They did so good. Good job, guys.